One of the most confusing things in my mind in putting and becoming a great putter is learning to actually read the greens. And when we talk about reading greens, we can't talk about that without mentioning the grain. And certainly whether you're playing bent grass like we have here at the beautiful Cordillera Ranch in Boerne, Texas, or playing in the Bermuda greens of Texas or Florida, or the great bent grass courses that we see up in the Midwest and Northwest and Northeast, it's always a mystery to players as to what that really means with the grain. And one of the things that we'll see here is talking about the cup itself. When you go to take the flag out on the green, you can really look at that cup and see, because I think it's important to understand the agronomics of what happens when the green superintendent sends someone out to change the hole location each day. When you take a cup cutter, which actually is a round cylinder with a sharp edge that cuts the cup itself and actually pulls the soil out of the ground, well, you have to remember that grass lays down, it grows downhill, and we hear this in Texas, is how the grain always grows to the west or the setting sun. Well, actually, grain grows downhill. The gravity will pull on the blades of grass, and typically the runoff of the water will cause the grass to grow downslope. So when you walk on a green and you see many discolorations, if it's dark and rather dull looking, as you'll see in the photos, you'll see that that's uphill or into the grain. The ball's going to roll much slower as it's going up a slope or uphill, and even though it may be the slightest slope, it's going to slow the ball down. If you're putting with a high hill behind you and the grass looks very shiny, then you're putting downhill, down grain, and that's going to increase the roll. If the grain is growing side to side on your putt, then it's going to enhance the break or the amount of curvature of the ball as you're going. So really learning a lot about the discolorations helps us in understanding where the grass grows. Now, when you talk about the cup cutter itself, when the cup cutter goes into the ground, it slices the grass, and you have to understand, if that grass is laying down or growing downhill on the uphill side, when the cup cutter enters into the ground, it's going to cut the leaves or the blade of your grass. Just like you would cut your lawn. When you cut the blades, the grass stays green and it keeps growing. If you were to go out and cut the roots, which is actually what happens on the downhill or down grain side, because once that cup cutter cuts that sharp edge and lifts the ground up, then it's removing the root of the plant. Well, what's left are a few blades, and the discoloration or the roughness that you see, it's actually where the plant has been removed by the root and just left a few blades of grass, which, especially in the summer, as the heat gets hotter during the day and the sun bears down on that dead plant or dead leaf, it discolors. So it's much easier to see in the afternoon and the morning, but it's very, very important to understand what you're looking at, and seeing that little rougher edge or discolored edge will really help you know what the ball's going to tend to do around the hole. As the ball dies out, that's when the grain has the most impact on the ball and the roll of the ball. It starts to slow down, the grain starts to affect it, the downhill portion starts to affect it. That's going to make the ball either turn a little more, slow down, speed up, depending on how the grain is laying in the direction the ball's coming from. I hope this clears up a few of the mysteries of seeing discoloration, reading the cup, reading the grain. If you don't understand those things, you really can't become the great putter that I want you to be.